Hello and welcome to our cocktail kit video for the Mula Picante. One of the most classic vodka cocktails, or certainly one of the most ubiquitous vodka cocktails right now and for years, has been the Moscow Mule. Citrus kind of wakes up the ginger, and vodka is just a really nice kind of vehicle to carry all those flavors. So we decided to do our version of one using our Haymaker's vodka, which is a vodka made from surplus apples and potatoes. So we get apples from about 40 miles from here up in the Kuyama Valley. There's an organic apple orchard that grows a bunch of beautiful Fujis and pink ladies, which are wonderful and organic, but unfortunately not all pretty enough for the store shelf necessarily. So we get a whole bunch of #2 organic apples. We also get potatoes from a very large grower who all like a very consistent size and shape to their potato. So we get all the potatoes that are too big, too small, and that gets distilled as well. We end up marrying those two together, and ultimately they get distilled 6 times to get to a neutral spirit. I want to be really, really clear that this is not an apple flavored vodka. This is a vodka that happens to be made from apples. It's going to be a little bit more expressive than a lot of vodkas out there. We don't aim straight at neutral with this. We want our vodka to have a little bit more character, so you will see it come through a little bit more in this cocktail. In this cocktail, we are using our Haymaker's vodka. We are using an East Imperial. This is a Thai ginger ale and expresses itself really nicely in the cocktail. And the reason we can use this in place of the ginger beer is that we are instead getting our spice from Apricot Habanero jelly that we get from up in Ojai, and just has a really warming spice quality, which kind of replaces the spice you would otherwise get from the ginger beer. One of the biggest hurdles to making any kind of a spice cocktail, especially in a hospitality setting, is being consistent with your spice. If you try to do this with habaneros at home and you muddle them or infuse your spirit, one habanero might be much hotter than the other, and so you might get vastly different levels of heat from cocktail to cocktail. By utilizing this, we're getting a very consistent heat every single cocktail, every single time, so you can enjoy them hopefully over and over, of course, responsibly. And then we're splitting our citrus. We're gonna be using both lemon and lime. Lemon has that nice, delicate acidity. Lime is, of course, a little bit more bitter and assertive, and by using them both, we get just a nice balance between the two. And the whole idea with this was to create this kind of foundation of a cocktail that would still allow our Haymakers to express itself really nicely. In constructing this drink, we're making a nice foundation. We're not just pouring soda and ginger beer, and that a lot of people have probably made Moscow Mules like that at home. So we're gonna start today by juicing some of our citrus. We're actually gonna double the recipe that you have on your card. So we're gonna do a 1/2 ounce of lemon and a 1/2 ounce of lime, along with the 1 ounce of jelly. So basically just doubling the recipe. As always, if you've already watched these videos a couple times, we're gonna do a little roll with some downward pressure. We're gonna cut that along the meridian, and we're gonna juice into something other than our jigger or our measuring vessel so that we don't lose half of it to the bar top. Give that a quick juice. And then again here. And that's gonna be more than enough from that one lime. Almost got myself in the eye, be careful. Go ahead and grab your blender. And I'm gonna measure out a 1/2 ounce of lime. Perfect. I'm gonna set aside the rest for later. Never hurts to have a little fresh squeezed citrus. And we're gonna do the same with the lemons. A quick roll. A cut down the middle there. And then get all that good juice out of there. And I've always loved, if it's appropriate to the cocktail, to utilize both lemon and lime, because I just think, again, that balance really really creates a very harmonious kind of acid for the cocktail. So ½ ounce here of your lemon. Perfect. Now we're gonna go ahead and get our jelly. We're gonna use 1 ounce of this Habanero apricot jelly. And something I've mentioned before, if you don't have a jigger but you need to measure a ½ ounce, your tablespoon will help. A tablespoon is ½ ounce. So in this particular situation, we would need 2 tablespoons of the apricot habanero jelly. I'm gonna use my 1 ounce side of a jigger, but I'm using the wider jigger here because I don't think I would get it all out of that narrower one. So level that off into the blender. Cover that up and go ahead and get 3 ounces of vodka into the blender. So if you don't have a jigger at home, you're gonna do a lot of tablespoon measuring. It would be 6 tablespoons. But however you're measuring, 3 total ounces of vodka into the blender. And that's gonna be the foundation of this cocktail. Your acid in the form of lemon and lime, your sweet and your heat from the jelly, and then of course your base spirit, or in this case our only spirit, which is the Haymaker's vodka. We're gonna give this about 20 seconds. You can just watch it. Every blender is gonna behave a little bit differently, but just until you see that there's no more kind of chunks of jelly getting tossed around in there. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and ice my glasses, so feel free to do the same at home. Whatever ice comes out of your freezer is gonna work just fine. So about 20 seconds, and I'll be icing my glasses in the meantime. All right, and I can see there that all the little bits of jelly had been fully integrated with the vodka and the citrus, so it's ready to pour over ice. We probably should measure this, but if you're just pouring in half, you can just pour kind of one and then the other, and then you go back to the first and you try to make them level, unless you want more, and you can pour a little more in your own glass. Get those as even as possible. That's not too bad. And I'm gonna grab a cold ginger ale from out of the fridge. If you have a cold one, all the better. Go ahead and top this off. And then once we top it off, we're gonna give it just a light stir so that we can make sure that all that base cocktail gets well incorporated with the soda. So just 1 or 2 quick turns. And then I like to garnish this with a lemon for that kind of delicate lemon acidity. Just an easy wheel. If you want a wedge in there, that's fine too. This is one where if you have an herb garden at home and you've got some mint that you want to kind of bundle up and throw on top, that's going to be really nice in a mule. Or really, almost any herb out of your garden is gonna work really nicely in here. So this is the Mula Picante. Hope you enjoy this, and cheers.